Hey everyone, and welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host. It's a short one. We're going to have 30 minutes to get into everything we can get into. Let's start with Pete Thamel's report this morning that it looks like the ACC and Stanford, Cal, and SMU have, I'm going to say come to agreement because according to Pete, it's all written in pencil. So it's not necessarily an agreement, but they're coming closer, and we'll see this week. I'm quite sure that they're going to have a vote one way or another. Thumbs up, thumbs down, we will see. But let's see what's going on. Hey, Liv, how you doing? Whirlwind this weekend, Big 12 and ACC rumors. Right. Steve Silver, who writes for the Chronicle in San Francisco, posted a story this weekend saying that the Big 12 and Stanford had some conversations. It was out there for 6 hours before I actually tweeted it, the story. And so several other publications picked up what Steve had written. It took 20 hours for the Big 12 to decide, that, no, that didn't happen. I still think possibly it did. And we can say that it was low-level people, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, I don't see if Stanford called the Big 12 and asked for a conversation or meeting or whatever, I do not see under any circumstances where they wouldn't answer that call. Or under any circumstances, they wouldn't have a conversation. It doesn't make sense, okay? You would have a conversation. That doesn't mean you're going to, someone's going to ask for an invitation or they're going to get offered a membership. What it means is you would open a dialogue. So did I think that what Steve wrote in the Chronicle was, had sense, made sense? Yeah, it's plausible. And that's why I waited 6 hours before doing anything about it. And then, of course, as I said, Brett McMurphy and Dennis Dodd came out and said that the conference wasn't interested. And again, what goes on behind the scenes, we don't know. Are they interested or aren't they interested? Again, we won't know. We may never know. But is it plausible they would answer the phone? Yes, it's very plausible. And, conversations, as I said, they're not binding. They're just a matter of talking. So we'll see. To the ACC, though, Pete Thamel's reporting, and I opened the show with this. Pete said that it looks like they've got something in pencil, and not ink yet, for people to look at. And so that's cool. I do think it's going to be ended by the week. I don't think anybody wants to open the season, especially the ACC, which has some big games coming up here with Florida State and LSU. I don't think they want to open the season with this hanging over their head. So one way or another, I think they're going to get this thing resolved before the end of the week. It can't lag on any longer, and up or down, right? I mean, that's simple enough. You either want Stanford, Cal, and SMU, or you don't. And if you do, great. And if you don't, well, that's fine too. And Stanford and Cal and the rest of them will have to go to Plan B, whatever that might be. So yeah, it was a lot of crazy over the weekend, but that's what happens in situations like this. You just don't know what's going to happen. Justin, how are you this morning? There's almost too much smoke. He's back on now, but I think it's possible. Right. You're right about that. They have worked hard. Jim Phillips, the commissioner, has worked very hard to do two things. One, expand the conference, because every other conference has expanded during this 2-year period. We know that obviously the SEC went out and got Oklahoma and Texas. UCLA and USC went to the Big 10. Big 12 picked up, they added 4 schools, then they picked up 4 more. So, for the ACC to keep pace, adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU would not be, unwise. But, they also have that revenue stream issue that everybody seems to keep pounding on them for. And so we'll see. But you're right. I mean, the smoke is there. It seems as if they want to do this. I know that Phillips and at least 11 of them want to. They need to get 12. Maybe there were some silent ones that voted no. I mean, voted yes because they knew others would vote no. But look, this is the only way they get money. There's no other way. And if Jim, according to Pete Thamel's report, it was between 60 and 70 million dollars a year that they could be able to split up. That's not, that's not nothing. And it's an added revenue stream. So if they, on one hand they can say, well, gosh, we're not making enough money, but on the other hand, how do they turn down money? So I mean, I think in Jim's defense, Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, he's certainly trying to get them extra money, and that's why bringing 3 schools in is the only plausible way for them to do it. And so we'll see. But yeah, Justin, it's we passed crazy about 20 miles down the road. That's in the rearview mirror now. So and as as Nev said earlier in a conversation, that there was some conversation about the Big 12 over the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if that was the case. That they had conversations on a lower level. So, it is what it is, right? And we'll see. So, we'll keep moving. We'll keep doing what we can. So anyway, that's where we are right now. That's 100% where we are in this situation right now. We're waiting for the ACC. Is the Big 12 an option? I don't know, but I would not, I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. It's a very long shot, but I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. We'll see. We will see. There's plenty of stuff going on. Now, week 0, because what I really do for a living is cover television and broadcasting, was an interesting one. The game that NBC aired this weekend out of Dublin, Ireland. I'm sure they would have loved a much closer game than it showed up to be, with Notre Dame getting thumped by Navy getting thumped by Notre Dame. It was a good game. Pac-12 Network had a good game, which I guess very few people saw, but I saw it. USC, Caleb Williams looked good. So yeah, there's some entertaining football on the weekend. We're getting ready for some big entertaining football this week. I will have a report out. I'll be bringing on some guests. I wrote a story which you will see later in the week with Gary Danielson, who is going to be leading the NBC broadcast crew. He's the color analyst, and Noah Eagle will be the play-by-play announcer on that one. So we're looking forward to seeing what's going on with NBC this week. CBS is going to open up. ESPN will fire up all this stuff. So we're gonna have our first full fun Labor Day college football weekend, and I think all of us are excited and happy that that's coming soon, because it's been way too long before since, right? What do you got, Nev? Which games you're mostly forward to this week? Yeah, Utah and Florida's, the Gators are one of my favorite teams. And I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be interesting, though, Nev. I think that where that's going to be interesting is you've got Utah. Is Cam Rising going to play? And if he doesn't, they have what in essence is a very athletic quarterback who can run and pass. He runs better than he passes, kid by the name of Johnson. And Graham Mertz, who starts for Florida, is a transfer, came over from Wisconsin. And Billy Donovan. Yeah, it's wrong coach, wrong year. And Billy Napier, who's the coach in Florida, what he wants Graham Mertz to do is manage the game, somewhat like Kyle Trask did a couple of years ago when he was quarterback of Florida under Dan Mullen. And they've got some fantastic running backs. They've got some, some good wide receivers. I think what Florida wants to do, especially on the road against Utah, is shorten the game. So play, run, pass when you have to. Don't make mistakes and try to just run up the yardage and, as I say, shorten the game. Utah, on the other hand, again, they're the defending conference champions. They've got some very good athletes on that side, and we'll see. So it should be fun. I mean, a week one, that one, LSU and FSU, that should be a monster. They had a great game last season. That was in the Superdome. And this year they're playing in Orlando. So it should be, those two games should be fun. And there's a whole bunch of others. So, yeah, those are two that I would be looking forward to. The one that I was talking to you about just a second ago with Gary Danielson, and the first ever NBC college football Saturday night game should also be entertaining, and that is West Virginia at Penn State. Now, West Virginia and Penn State used to play every year, and there was a bit of a rivalry there. But as things happen, conferences come, conferences go. And Penn State and West Virginia haven't played each other for quite a while. So I would think for West Virginia fans, and there are a lot of West Virginia fans, that the fact that they're going to get to play Pitt and Pitt and Penn State in the same season for West Virginia fans, they got to be really excited about that. Now, the Backyard Brawl, which is Pitt and West Virginia, was played last year. The first game of the season, and that was played in Pittsburgh. This year is a little later in the season, but this one's going to be played in Morgantown. So, the 70-mile difference is like light years. So, 70 miles from Morgantown to Pittsburgh, and it's going to be crazy. It's also going to be crazy Saturday night when in Happy Valley when Penn State hosts West Virginia. The kids from Morgantown and that whole West Virginia football team is going to be, psyched out of their minds when 102,000 people show up at the at Beaver Stadium, which is it's a very imposing place to play, and especially in night. It's really quite special at that point in time. But I will tell you this: I'd rather play Penn State at night in September than Penn State at night in November. So I think that's going to be a fun one. So plenty of fun games this week, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about them. We're going to bring some people on who actually can give us some insight into those games, and we'll have some fun talking about the broadcast teams and who's going to do what. So that's some stuff to look forward to. A little too early in the week for this, but we'll go from there. And of course, the week after that, we're going to NFL kicks off. A lot of changes in coverage there. And we still have baseball, which is moving along. We'll be getting into the playoffs here in the not too distant future. So we got a lot of fun stuff going on. Messi scores again in his first MLS game. I mean, he's only been playing for a month in competition, but they went to New York to technically to New Jersey to play Red Bull, and came away with a 2-0 victory over Red Bull with Messi scoring an absolutely crazy goal there in the final moments of the game. So those Messi fans have to be happy. The 27,000 who were hanging from the rafters at Red Bull Stadium definitely got their money's worth. Let me take this out of the way. And from a question and answer standpoint, guys, let's see. Let's see what we got going on here. There's a couple of questions that are coming in from. Okay. Here's what we got. Question. Do you think? Okay. Here's. Okay. Do you think that there's any chance that Washington State and Oregon State are included in the ACC? No, I don't. I say that because I wish they could, but I don't think. I mean, look how hard it is to get Stanford, Cal, and SMU across the line. So I think that's going to be a tough call to bring two more in, especially out there. Okay. Whoops. We already answered that question. Yeah. So sorry, that was my fault. I hit the button there. I thought there was a new question from you, Nev. Let's see what else we got. Okay. It seems to be academic collaboration appears organized throughout the Association of American Universities, which both our institutions are part of. And he's talking about Stanford and Cal, which is correct. That would be correct. And yeah, is that going to be important to eventually the ACC? Yeah, I think that's going to be very important because it's money in a research aspect. But that's not sports dollars, that's academic dollars, and perhaps that might be something that will sway the sway the powers that be in the direction of the folks from from the ACC. SMU's TV ratings suck. Okay, this is Lance. What cash though? Their ratings suck. They're 70th in revenue in the past years. The endowment is an average P5 school. They aren't particularly good in any revenue supports, including attendance. Just they're willing to bribe their way into it. I'm not sure I would use bribe. I mean, it's not that's not really a good way of putting it, but kind of looks that way. But we'll see. Ooh, Greg, you smacked me with a big one there. I'll tell you what. I will go with the Seminoles here. I think the Seminoles can beat Brian Kelly's LSU team. That being said, LSU is not a bad team by any stretch of imagination. But I think that this is a huge year for FSU. Okay, they need to step up and they need to play well. They had a good season last season, and I think it's important now that they step up and do it. So I think it's going to be FSU. It's not going to be. It'll be close, and Brian Kelly has a good team at LSU, no doubt about it. But if FSU wants to make a case for why they deserve to be a national in the national conversation, then you've got to beat teams like LSU, which they did last year at home technically on the road, but it was in New Orleans at the Superdome. This year it's in Orlando. So should be a very interesting game, Greg. 100%. That's going to be a lot of fun. Which league is better than U16 ACC with Stanford Cal? Well, I mean, it depends. If I think the ACC at the top with FSU and Clemson is probably better, but once you get to FSU and Clemson, past FSU and Clemson, North Carolina is not a bad team, but I think balance-wise, probably the Big 12 has more teams that are there. The addition, of Cincinnati doesn't hurt them. UCF doesn't hurt them. TCU's got a good team. Baylor's got a good team. Kansas State. So again, on balance, the Big 12 has it. On the top echelon teams, the top two teams, Clemson's had a couple of down years, and FSU just kind of like has started to build themselves back. So at the top, I would give it to the ACC, but overall, I would say the new 16 team Big 12. What do you think, Greg and Justin? What do you guys think? Are you with it? Which top-rated team do you think will have the worst opening game? That's a good one. Well, I guess LSU, because they're one of the top opening teams. One of the problems, and KJ, I'm sure you remember this. Michigan has a terrible time for some reason with the openers, and they're going to play an East Carolina team that's not bad. So it might be Michigan, even though they're playing at the Big House. It might very well be Michigan, and we're going to have to see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, I think, I'll take two. and you guys can chime in as well. I'm going to go with Michigan and LSU because, as I said, Michigan, because they, as I say, they have had issues. Remember that Appalachian State game? They've had issues opening the season. Does that mean that they'll lose to East Carolina? No, but I think that East Carolina has a really good football team, and so we'll have to see how they play against Michigan. But it'll be fun. So that and the FSU LSU game. So those are two big ones that I think we might just see some crazy times going on there. Okay, got another about 10 minutes, guys. So let's see what we can get through in 10 minutes. What do we got here from the Twitter sphere? Both camps are never. Okay. I'm both a Stanford and Cal graduate. I've never had any problem practicing as a student at either university. So, okay, well, there you go. Let's see. That's good to know. So, in other words, I think they're trying to explain there that if they were to play BYU and Baylor and other schools that have had some consistently, a solid religious base, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's, I don't think that's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. And they certainly make it clear that it's not a problem for them. So, all right, that's good to know. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we've already covered the top teams that we know are going to have a tough time the first week. And guys, like I said before, what we're going to do here this week is we can get some people in who are very, knowledgeable about college football and some broadcasters who will be doing the games this weekend. And we'll talk with them about what they think about the upcoming week one. And that's going to continue to be the theme throughout the show, throughout the season. We'll have some entertainment people who are also sports fans. We'll talk about their movies, about whatever they're going to be on television. The way the show goes is we're going to be bringing in folks who I think that you all will enjoy. You'll be able to ask them questions. They'll answer for you, and you'll get a total perspective of what's going on, both from the broadcast side, from the college sports side, the pro sports side, and in different elements, not just football, but baseball, basketball, auto racing, the whole 10 yards. So that's what we're going to do here on the show. And you guys have been outstanding so far, and we hope to grow it and to have you all come on a regular basis. And feel free to give us questions. If you can't make it, no problem. Just watch the show later and leave the comments below. I promise I'll answer. I've answered everyone so far. So, we'll do it. All right, guys. So keep those questions coming. We got another, about 8 minutes. So let's get some quick questions in there. Let's do the lightning round, right? So we can get a bunch of them. All right. So let's see what questions we have that just came in on. Okay, we have someone here who is saying to me that the odds we have a finalized version of Cal and Stanford by, say, Thursday. I'm going to say it's probably going to be no later, Thursday, Friday, absolutely worst. So, yeah, I think we're going to be there by that time. So, yeah, I'm on your side on that one. And, Chris, I do think that they'll get there. And it's not going to be – they'll come kicking and screaming, but they will definitely be there. So, hang on, my friends, just a little bit longer. And, the ACC network will get that Dallas market. This is what Believer tells us. It doesn't matter how good they are. Contract is higher when they give rates to the market, which is true. About 80 cents to $1 more per cable subscriber in Dallas market. But that's actually true for the entire state of Texas, so it's not just them. Take the DMA size, and he's talking about generating revenue. So, yeah, all of these teams will generate revenue through the way that the ACC network is is formulated, where if a team in an area does it, then if you get an ACC team in your market, then the cable providers are duty bound to up the price, so that way there is more revenue that comes through the ACC network. We don't know at this point in time how much that's going to be, but it could be enough to certainly make a nice little pool. So let's see. All right, let's take this. In your opinion, is there any chance that G5 schools could start work together and schedule Olympic sports? You know what, KJ? I think they're already talking about that. I think you're right. I think they're doing that. They're looking into it. It makes all the sense in the world. And I do think that one of the things that they learned from COVID is that might not be the worst possible thing to do. And that there's a lot of people who like it. You can put, multiple teams up at hotels. You can play basketball, volleyball or tennis or whatever it is all day long. And, and literally in a weekend, knock out, 10, 13, 14 games and a sizable chunk of your schedule just in one area. So there you go, boys and girls. All right, time for one last question before we get out of here this morning. We will be back for the hour show tomorrow, but today we have to cut it short for some technical reasons. We have to get going and have to do a reboot of our system. So time for one more question. Anybody want to give us one more? And thank you guys for coming in. By the way, subscribe, hit the bell, please, 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 and like us. It's something that we would like to do. We're likable people, and you're all likable people too. So let's see what we got here one more time on this. Okay, this is another one about Stanford. They have an extremely rich donor base, which will pay for this move. They bring nothing athletically, but they basically are paying for themselves, Stanford and Cal, just to get a seat at the table. And to a great extent, that is very good, true. They made a commitment. The ACC seems to have no trouble with that commitment, and so away we go. Welcome to the new world, right? All right, guys. Gotta tell you, it's really been fun. You guys make it fun this morning. We hope you're having a great Monday. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time at 10 a.m. And I just want to say thanks again to all of you for joining us. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have a lot of fun. And you never know, we might even learn something. Guys, have a great day, okay? Take care.